Hello guys, my name is Aaron. Welcome back to another video. Hope everybody's well. Hope everybody's having a lovely day wherever you are, whatever time it is. It's a nice day today. As you can see, it's quite cold, but it's a nice day regardless. So I've got my big coat on. Nice springtime day. Can't really complain. So my intention today is to talk to you guys about depression and my experience with it recently, my story with it, I guess, what I've learned, my advice, knowledge, my first-hand experience, with the intention that it helps give you relatability, validation, and with the intention to help you and to move through an experience that you may be going through. So with that, let's get right into it. So my story with depression really starts around 3 years ago. It just came out of nowhere, really. I didn't really know or realise that I was depressed. I didn't really have that label for it. I was doing really well. I was really healthy. I was living life to the best, which I was doing really well. I was really happy with who I was, and slowly I just started to lose interest in things. I just started to really not really care about making videos, about taking care of myself. I started to eat loads of junk food. I started to act and behave in a way where I was chasing instant gratification, chasing dopamine, not really thinking about the future, thinking about the momentary pleasures, Started just being lazy, just eating junk food all the time. I just wasn't really going with the way in which I kind of set out to kind of live my life. I kind of fell back into old habits, old habits that I had when I was a teenager. I started smoking cigarettes every now and again, not massively, just every now and again, just to kind of get that next level of high, I guess. And the times I did do it, it just made me feel sick, with Kundalini, smoke, and some people can do it. Some people can smoke cigarettes and stuff, but with me it just knocked me sick, really sick. So it didn't happen very often, but I just started to eat a lot of junk foods, just stay up really late, be tired all the time, and the spark and the motivation and the drive and the desire for life just kind of vanished all of a sudden. It wasn't all of a sudden, it was just like a gradual, slow process, and I just kind of thought it was just, it was addiction. It was me just falling back into addiction, and there was I was being hard on myself at times, and that slowly kind of faded away. So I guess that's a positive. I kind of found some self-love within the the cycles of addiction, which is positive. That's always a positive. And it just kind of went around in circles from there, really. I desperately wanted to get myself out of it and to start to live life again. I felt as though my whole life just went on pause and everything just kind of went down the toilet, really. It was really hard to kind of deal with that on a mental level, and physically I just started to feel worse and worse. I started to not like the way I started to not like the way I looked in the mirror, and it was hard. I didn't really know what to do. I wanted to change, but I didn't really have the desire or the strength to change, and it was a hard place to be in. And as I felt into it, I just started to surrender to it. I started to just accept this was just how I was, and to just kind of to go along with it almost. As much as there was resistance on an ego level, because I didn't want to live in that way. I didn't want to live in that level of vibration. I felt as though I held myself in such high esteem and such high standards that it was really hard to kind of let go into that kind of level of life. But I just kind of started to accept it, and it was almost as I started to go round and round in the cycle, the more and more that I went round, the more that things were releasing from me. On the subconscious level, I didn't really understand what was going on consciously. I was just kind of in the middle of it. And I'm still kind of in it now, but not really. I've kind of moved out of it a little bit. My desire, my drive for life is starting to come back a little bit. The visions I've got in my head of my life, I'm starting to really have the desire to kind of move forward with that now, rather than to be lazy and to not really care. So I just tried to trust God in the process, and I think that was the only choice I had really. It was all I knew. It was all I knew what to do. I didn't really know where else to go, so that was really my only option really. So I decided to just let go into it, to not judge it, to not let it affect my mental health too much, and to just accept that it was just part of the process, as much as I kind of didn't want it to be. There's this voice in my head of, you've wasted the last 3 years, you've let opportunities pass you by, but I don't really think that's the case. I didn't really want to kind of make new connections. I didn't really want to go out there and kind of meet new people. I think it was all really natural the way it happened, as much as there was a large resistance to it. Maybe you might be able to relate to that, who knows, but I feel like sometimes we just don't have a choice with how our life's going to go, because of the contracts we've signed before we incarnated and things like that. As much as it was hard, it felt right at the same time. So if you are going through this, if you are going through something like this, don't judge yourself. Don't judge yourself, hold yourself in the highest esteem. It's not easy, it's difficult, it's hard, it's confusing. Well, it certainly was for me. It was challenging. It was just confusing more than anything. It just all of a sudden happened. I feel as though prior to the depression cycle I've been going through, I feel as though I was in a place where I felt as though nothing could go wrong. Everything was just going to be plain sailing from here on in. And then and all of a sudden I found myself all the way down here. It was hard. It was hard to mentally accept that. And people were coming and going from my life, friends, people who I just met recently, and it was hard. I felt a dissatisfaction with where I was in life. I feel I've been working the same job since I was a teenager, and I just wasn't happy with that on an ego level, because I wanted more, but at the same time it felt right. And I guess that's a positive to just take, that I held myself in high esteem, and where I wanted, it wasn't enough for me. So I guess it's catapulted me into wanting more. It's maybe more desirable for a better life. So I guess that's a positive that I can bring as well. Sometimes you've got to go lower to realise that you want higher, you know. And I guess it was a good reminder for me for that too. There was times where my anxiety would go crazy. There would be times where, as I say, I would have that negative mental chatter. There would be times where I would just be so at a loss. I would be so mentally and physically depleted because of the way I was treating myself with the junk food and the not sleeping properly. And it just feel as though just going round and round in circles. I just wanted to give up, you know. There was suicidal thoughts. Obviously, it was nothing that I would ever kind of go forward with. It was just my mind kind of looking for an escape from the situation I found myself in. So, you know, our job as conscious people is to watch what's happening inside of us, not to attach or to identify with it, you know. So if you are going through this, use it as a practice, you know, to kind of detach, not to kind of bypass or to pretend that's not happening, but to detach and to look at things from an empowered way. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this situation? What can these feelings teach me, rather than, why is this happening to me? I don't want this. What's going on? You know, try and extract as much value from the situation as you can, and that's what I've learned to do. I've learned to let the past be the past, let the last 3 years be the last 3 years, and to move forward with whatever I have learned. Whether that's a lot, whether that's a little. You know, if you want to move forward in life, you have to learn to adapt and to take forward the things in which you've learned. And I think that's a really key skill to learn in this situation. Otherwise, you'll just go around in circles and it's a dead end, you know. And I guess that brings me on to the way in which you react and behave if you're going through this experience, whether it be the dark night of the soul, whatever label you want to put on it. It can be depression, it can be purging, it can be whatever you want it to be called, whatever resonates. But the key thing, I think that's the most important, is the way in which you react and behave as you're going through it. Because if you do what I did and just start to self-medicate with junk food and with, you know, the phone, dopamine, scrolling, you'll end up at a dead end. Okay, you'll end up going round and round in circles. You'll end up feeling exhausted, tired, wanting to avoid things, and it's a harsh cycle. So just don't do it. It's not worth it. Stay within your principles, stay eating healthily, and it'll go so much smoother, and you'll probably not elongate it either. You'll just work hard to remove it from your consciousness as fast as you can, and don't elongate it, otherwise you'll make it 1,000 times worse. So, to summarise, the term depression in a spiritual context can mean a lot of different things. It can, you know, it can mean purging, it can mean, you know, if you're going through a Kundalini work, it can mean Kundalini energy going through your chakras and releasing a lot of pent-up energies or things from past lives. Sometimes you're not going to have a conscious, visceral explanation of why you're going through or why you feel the way you are. Sometimes you just feel the way you do because you do, and you sometimes won't be able to kind of put your fingers on why. But the key thing is to react in the best way. Okay. Emotions are energy in motion. Sometimes things are just moving through you, and sometimes if you behave in a certain way, you go towards addiction or instant gratification, you'll kind of block these things from being released from you, and it'll make it 1,000 times worse. It'll elongate it, it'll make it feel a lot worse, you will lower your mental health as a result of that. You'll be tired, you'll be exhausted because of the junk food you're eating, etc., or whatever your vices may be, smoking weed, whatever, drinking. The way in which you react is the most empowering thing you can do. You can either disempower yourself and become not a victim to, because victim's got like a negative kind of connotation, but you can either react to it in a positive way or a negative way, and the way in which your experience plays out really matters on those two choices. So it's your choice. I mean, I've went through the hard way, I think, because of my choices, and it was really hard for me to get out of it. But again, I'm taking a positive from it so I can pass this on to you, to show value, to show learning, knowledge. So I guess that's the main lesson to take from this. Extract the positives that you can, react in the healthiest way you can. You know, there's no shame in eating junk food just the way that I have, etc. Okay, there's no shame in it, okay? Sometimes we are just at a time in life or a time in self-evolution where we can't really react in any other way. It is what it is. But just don't judge yourself. Don't be hard on yourself, because that's the worst thing ultimately you can do, because life's hard sometimes. And that's okay. So with that, guys, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. I'm sending so much blessings. If you guys have any questions, any comments, please put them down below. I would love to start a discussion with you. I hope this video was helpful and brought you some kind of value. It's really nice to be here with you all. And thank you so much for subscribing, for liking, for commenting. I really appreciate all the comments and all the likes that I do get, all of the subscribers. Please, if you want some more content from me, please follow my Instagram at Awakening with Aaron for more content, for more posts, for more personalized information from me to feel kind of closer to myself. It would be really, really, really appreciated. Please like, subscribe, blessings, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.